Students, what we learned in the previous class? Yes, we learned about fibers. We learned about fibers. What are fibers? Fibers are very thin thread-like structures. Fibers are very thin thread-like structures. For what purpose we use fibers? We use the fibers for making fabrics or cloths. For making fabrics or cloths. Okay, there are two types of fibers are present. Which are they? The natural fiber and synthetic fiber. Natural fiber and synthetic fiber. What are natural fibers? What we learn about natural fibers? Yes, natural fibers are the fibers which are obtained from their nature or plant and animal sources. Plant and animal sources. Example for natural fibers. Which are the examples? Yes, wool, jute, then cotton, silk, etc. are the example for natural fiber. Then what are synthetic fibers? What we learn about synthetic fibers? Synthetic fibers are man-made fibers. They are not obtained from plant and animal sources. They are obtained from chemical substances. They are man-made fibers. Example for synthetic fibers are polyacrylic, polyester, nylon, etc. are example for synthetic fibers. Then what we learned in the previous classes? Then we learn about wool. Wool is a natural fiber. Wool is a natural fiber. We get wool from different animals. We get wool from different animals' fleeces. What do you mean by fleece? Fleeces? Fleeces means the hairs of animals, herbivorous like goat, angora goats, yak, sheep, then etc. Okay, llama, alpaca, some pictures of animals are given in your textbook. So then what we learn about? We learn about wool. We learn about wool. Okay, wool is a natural fiber. Wool is a natural fiber. Then what we learn? Then we learn about the process of fibers to wool. We learn the different steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 and step 5 and step 6. In these steps we learn different process. Shearing, then what we learn? Scoring, sorting, then picking of small fluffy fibers, etc. we learned in the previous classes. So we are going to learn occupational hazards. Today we are going to learn occupational hazards. What do you mean by occupational hazards? Occupational hazards means the risks faced by workers in any industry. The risks faced by workers in any industry are called occupational hazards. The risks faced by workers in any industry are called occupational hazards. In this chapter we learn about the wool industry. We learn more about wool industry. So here the occupational hazards indicate about the industry of wool. So what do you mean by occupational hazards? Occupational hazards means the risks faced by the workers. The risks faced by the workers in any industry. Here in wool industry are called occupational hazards. What do you mean by occupational hazards? The risks faced by workers in any industry are called occupational hazards. Here we learn about wool industry. So the wool industry is an important means of livelihood for many people in our country. We know that in our country wool industry is an important means of livelihood. So many workers are present in wool industry. Many workers are present in the wool industry. So in wool industry there is a disease caused by disease is present in the sorters section. What do you mean by sorting? The process of selecting the fleeces. Selecting the fleeces of sheep or goats according to the quality of the fleece, like it is soft or Okay, that is called sorting. So in the sorter's job means the workers in the sorting sections affect a bacterium called anthrax. Occupational hazards. What we learn? Occupational hazards. Occupational hazards. Occupational hazards. In whole industry, in the sorting sections, the workers affect a bacterium called anthrax. Okay. Then which causes a fatal blood diseases called sorter's diseases. Which causes a fatal blood diseases. Where disease called sorter's disease. Fatal blood disease called sorter's disease. Sorter's disease. Okay. Then what do you mean by occupational hazards? The risks faced by workers in any industry are called occupational hazards. The risks faced by workers in any industry are called occupational hazards. Once again, what do you mean by occupational hazards? The risks faced by the workers in any industry are called occupational hazards. In our lesson chapter, we learn about the whole industry. The occupational hazard faced by the workers in the sorting section affects a bacterium called anthrax. So it is a fatal blood disease called sorter's disease. Okay, all of you understood? Then next we move on to the next topic about silk. Then we know that silk is a natural fiber. From where we get the silk? We get silk from the cocoon of silkworm. Okay, then the silk fibers are also animal fibers. We know that the silk fibers are animal fibers. So it is called a natural fiber. Natural fibers are obtained from where? We get the natural fibers from plants and animal sources. So silk is an animal fiber. So it is also called a natural fiber. Then from where we get the silk fibers? We get the silk fibers from the cocoon of silkworm. Then the rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called sericulture. The rearing of silkworms. What do you mean by rearing of silkworms? Rearing means collecting the fibers from the silkworms. What do you mean by rearing? Rearing means look after first of all, in the rearing section, the workers look after the silkworm for getting the quality of cocoon or fibers. So in the rearing section, in the rearing of silk for what purpose we do this rearing? We do the rearing for getting silk fibers. That is called sericulture. It's called sericulture. Okay, in your textbook, page number 28, about silk is given. Silk fibers are also animal fibers. Silkworms spin the silk fibers. The silkworm spins the silk fibers. The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called sericulture. The rearing of silkworms. Rearing of silkworms, for what purpose we do this rearing? For obtaining the silk. That is called sericulture. Then Next topic, the process of obtaining silk. It is necessary to know the interesting life history of the silk moth. Life history of silk moth. Next topic, life history of silk moth. Life history of silk moth. Then in the life history of silk moth, first in the first step, the female silk moth lays egg on the mulberry leaves. First of all, what does silk moth do? The female silk moth, female silk moth lays eggs on the leaves of mulberry. Lays eggs on the mulberry leaves. Mulberry leaves. Lays eggs on the mulberry leaves. Lays eggs on the mulberry leaves. Then the eggs are hatched into very small larvae within a week. Then the eggs are hatched into a very small larvae within a week. Then what happens to the eggs? The eggs are hatched into very small larvae. The eggs are hatched into very small larvae. The eggs are hatched into very small larvae within a week. About the life history of silk moth. The female silk moth lays egg on the mulberry leaves. The female silk moth lays egg on the mulberry leaves. Then the eggs are hatched into very small larvae within a week. Okay. Then the larvae of silkworm. No, the larvae of silk moth are called caterpillar or silkworm. The larvae of silk moth. The larvae of silk moth are called caterpillar or silkworm. Silkworm or caterpillar. Then first of all, the female silk moth lays. The female silkworm lays out eggs on the mulberry leaves. Then the eggs are hatched into very small larvae within a week. Next step, the larvae of silk moth are called the silkworm or caterpillar. Then the silkworms feed on the leaves of mulberry tree and growing bigger in size. Then the caterpillar silkworms feed on the mulberry leaves and grow bigger in size. When the silkworm is ready to enter the next stage of its development is called a pupa. Then in the silkworm, what the silkworm do? The silkworm feed on the mulberry leaves. feed on the mulberry leaves. Feed on the mulberry. The silkworm feed on the mulberry leaves. Then the silkworm feed on the mulberry leaves and grow bigger in size and grow bigger in size and grow bigger in size, bigger in size. In the next step, when the silkworm is ready to enter the next stage of development, that stage of development is called the pupa. That stage of development. When the silkworm enters to the next stage of development is called the pupa. Pupa. Next stage of development is called the pupa. Okay. Then all of you take look your textbook page number 28. Life history of silk moth is given. Life history of silk moth is given. The figures of male and female silk moth is given. The female silk moth lays eggs on the mulberry leaves. Then the eggs are hatched. Then the eggs are hatched into very small larvae within a week. Then what happened? Then the larvae of silkworm, then the larvae of silk moth are called silkworm or caterpillar. Then the silkworm feed on the mulberry leaves. Silkworm feed on the mulberry leaves and grow bigger in size. Then in the next stage of development is called pupa. The next stage of development is called pupa. Next step. It is the first weaves a net to hold itself. What in the pupa stage the caterpillar do? If the caterpillars weaves a net to hold itself. Then the caterpillar swings its head from side to side. Then the caterpillar, what the caterpillar do? Then the caterpillar swings its head side to side. Okay. During these movements of the head of caterpillar secretes fibers. During these movements of caterpillar secretes the fibers made of proteins. Fibers made of protein. The caterpillars made the fibers. Caterpillar secretes fibers made of a protein. Then what in the caterpillar what do in the first stage, in the pupa stage? In the first stage, that is in the pupa stage, the caterpillar weaves a net to hold itself. Then what do the caterpillar? Then the caterpillar swings its head side to side. The caterpillar swings its head side to side. Then side to side. During this movement, the caterpillar secretes fibers. During these movements, the caterpillar secretes fibers. Then that fibers are made of a protein. Then this protein hardens on exposure to air and becomes silk fiber. That protein fibers are makes the silk fibers hardens. Then the caterpillar completely covers itself by silk fibers and turns into pupa. This covering is known as cocoon. Then in page number 28, the cocoon figure of cocoon is given. Then what the caterpillar do? The caterpillar cover the full body with the silk fibers and it turns into a pupa. This covering is called a cocoon. Then the further development of the pupa into moth continues inside the cocoon. Then here in the figure F, cocoon with the developing moth. Cocoon with the developing moth is given. Okay. Then the silk fibers are used for weaving silk cloth. This is the life history about silk moth. Then that silk cloths are used for making many types, many kind of silks like tassa silk, muga silk, kosa silks, etc. Then the most common silk moth is the mulberry silk. The most common silk moth. The most common silk moth is mulberry silk moth. The most common silk moth is mulberry silk moth. Okay. The silk from the fiber. The silk fiber from the cocoon of this moth is soft, lustrous and elastic and can be dyed in beautiful colors. And can be dyed in beautiful colors. Okay, all of you understood? So, I will teach you once again. Once again about the life history of silk moth. Then, first, what the silk moth do? The silk moth lays egg on the leaves of mulberry leaves. The silkworm, the silk moth lays egg on the mulberry leaves. Then the eggs are hatched. The eggs are hatched into very small larvae within a week. Then the larvae of silk moth are called the larvae of silk moth. The larvae of silk moth are called silkworm. The larvae of silk moth are called silkworm. Then that silkworm feed on the leaves of mulberry and grow bigger in size Then that bigger size is ready to enter the next stage of development. That stage of development is called pupa. In that stage, what the silkworm do? The silkworm first weaves a net. To hold itself. Then what the silkworm do? Then the silkworm swings its head from side to side. Like a swing. Swings its head to side. For what? For secreting the fibers made of a protein. During these movements, the fibers are secreted. During this movement of the head, the fibers are secreted. That fibers are made of protein. This protein helps to hardens the silk fibers produced by the silkworm. This protein helps to hardens the silk fibers produced by the silkworm. Then what do the silkworms? The caterpillar silkworms enters itself by silk fibers and turns into a pupa, and this stage of the stage of covering its body full with the silk fibers are called cocoon. Okay, this covering. Then inside the cocoon, the silk moth is developed, grow inside the cocoon. Okay, this is that's all about the life history of silk moth. Then the most common silk moth is the mulberry silk moth, because the mulberry silk moth produced silk fibers are very lustrous, means very shiny, then soft and elastic. Then and it can be dyed in different beautiful colors. Okay, all of you understood? Next we move on to the next topic. From cocoon to silk. First of all, the caterpillar. What do the caterpillar? Make a cocoon for developing the silk moth. Then next, from the cocoon to silk. The silk fibers are made from cocoon to silk. From cocoon to silk. For obtaining silk moths are reared and their cocoons are collected to get silk threads. The cocoons are silk fibers. that silk fibers are made of protein. The proteins hardens the silk fibers. The proteins hardens the silk fibers. Then from cocoon to silk, the first process is rearing silkworms. First process is rearing silkworms. Rearing silkworms. What happened in the rearing silkworms in the first step? A female silk moth lays eggs on the hundreds of eggs at a time. Hundreds of eggs at a time in the mulberry leaves. Then the eggs are stored carefully. And carefully in a cloth or paper and sold it to whom? Silkworm workers, and sold it to silkworm workers. Then the farmers do keep the eggs under hygienic condition. Keeps the eggs under hygienic conditions and under suitable conditions of temperature and humidity. What from cocoon? We get silk from cocoons. How to make silk from cocoons? First step is rearing of silkworm. In the rearing section, what the silkworm do? The silkworm lays hundreds of eggs on the eggs at a time, and lays hundreds of eggs at a time in the leaves of mulberry tree. Then the farmers do collect or store carefully the eggs laid by the silk moth. Then it collected to a paper or a cloth and sold to silkworm farmers. The silkworm farmers keep the eggs under hygienic and suitable conditions of temperature and humidity. Then the eggs are warmed to a suitable temperature. The larvae hatch from eggs. Then this is done when mulberry trees. Then bear a fresh crop of leaves. The larvae called caterpillars or silkworms. Then the caterpillars or the silkworms eat the mulberry leaves day by day, and night, and increasing until they grow bigger in size. Then the larvae is kept in a clean bamboo tray along with the freshly chopped mulberry leaves. After 25 to 30 days, the caterpillar stops eating. After 25 to 30 days, the caterpillar stops eating. At that time, the caterpillar or the silkworm is bigger in size. Then they stop eating and move to a tiny chamber of bamboo in the tray to spin cocoons. They start to spin cocoons. That cocoons are silk fibers made of protein. Then the caterpillar silkworm spins the cocoon inside, which develops the silk moth. The caterpillar or the silkworm spins the cocoon inside which develops what? Which develops the silk moth. Then that's all in the rearing of silkworms. In page number 30, the picture is given about the rearing silkworms. First, the female silk moth lays egg on the mulberry leaves. Then lays egg on the mulberry leaves. Then the workers what do? The workers collect carefully the eggs in a paper or a cloth and sold to silkworm farmers. The silkworm farmers keep the eggs under suitable hygienic and conditions of temperature and humidity. Then the eggs are the eggs are warmed to a suitable temperature. Then the eggs are hatched into larvae. That larvae are called silkworms. Then the farmers what do? They give a freshly chopped mulberry leaves to the silkworms. Then then the caterpillars are placed in a bamboo tray. Bamboo tray contains a lot of mulberry leaves. Then they starts to eat mulberry leaves in 25 to 30 days. Then after 25 to 30 days it stops eating mulberry leaves and starts to develop the cocoons. Inside which develops the silk moth. That's all about the rearing of silkworms. Once again, what is rearing of silkworm? The female silk moth lays eggs on the mulberry leaves. Then the mulberry eggs are collected by the silkworm farmers into a cloth or a paper and sold to silkworm farmers. Then the farmers keep the eggs under suitable hygienic conditions of temperature and humidity. Then the eggs get suitable temperature. The eggs are hatched into larvae. That larvae are called silkworms. Then the farmers place the silkworms into a bamboo tray. Inside the bamboo tray, lots of freshly chopped mulberry leaves are kept. Then after 25 to 30 days, the silkworms stop to eating the mulberry leaves. In that time, the silkworms are bigger in size, and they starts to develop or spins cocoons. Then what happened? Then inside the cocoons, the silk moth is developed. Inside the cocoon, the silk moth is developed. Then the silk moth is enter from the cocoon. Then that female silk moth lays eggs on the mulberry leaves. That process is done continuously. Next one is processing silk. How to process the silk? Then a pile of cocoons is used for obtaining silk fibers. The cocoons are kept under the sun or boiled or exposed to steam. Then the cocoons get from the silkworms are used to make the silk fibers. Then first of all, what the farmers do? The farmers keep the cocoons under the sun or boiled the cocoon or exposed to steam. Then the silk fibers separated out. The cocoons are steamed or the cocoons are placed under the sun or boiled the cocoons. At that time we can separate the fiber. We can separate silk fibers. The process of taking out threads from the cocoon for use as silk is called reeling the silk. What do you mean by reeling the silk? The process of taking out. First of all, what the farmers do in the processing silk section, the farmers collect the cocoons. They collect a group of cocoons collecting a group of cocoons and keep the cocoons under the sun or boil the cocoons or exposed to steam for separating the silk fibers. Then the reeling the silk takes place. What do you mean by reeling the silk? The process of taking out threads from the cocoons. Cocoons for use as silk. For use as silk is called reeling the silk. Then reeling is done in special machines. In the ancient times, reeling is also done by workers. In nowadays, the reeling is done by special machines. Then the fibers of silk from the cocoon the silk fibers are then spun into silk threads. Then the silk threads are woven into silk clothes by weavers. The silk. Okay, that's all about processing silks. That's all about the processing silk. Then what we learn in the from cocoon to silk, in the cocoon to silk we learn about rearing silkworms. Rearing silkworms. First of all, the female silkworms lays egg on the mulberry leaves. Then that is collected to a paper or a cloth. Then it is sold to the silkworm farmers. The silkworm farmers keep the eggs under suitable hygienic temperature and humidity. Then the eggs are hatched under suitable temperature, and that hatched eggs are called larvae. That larvae are also called silkworms. Then that silkworms is placed into a bamboo tray. That silkworms is placed into a bamboo tray. That bamboo tray contains lots of freshly chopped mulberry leaves. Then after 25 to 30 days, the silkworms stop eating. At that time, the silkworms are grow bigger in size. They starts to develop cocoons. They starts to develop cocoons. Then that produced cocoons are made of proteins. That proteins hardens the fibers, producing cocoons. Okay. Then what we learn? Then the caterpillar, the silkworm spins the cocoons. Inside the cocoon, silk moth is developed. Inside the cocoon, silk moth is developed. Then processing of silk. How to process the silk from cocoon? Then first the farmers take a pile of cocoons into cocoons and place under the sun, or boil the cocoons, or give steam to the cocoons. Then for separating fibers from the cocoons. Then what do you mean by reeling of silk? The process of taking out threads from the cocoons for making silk fibers are called the reeling of silk. Then the silk fibers are spun into silk threads and woven into silks by the weavers. Next we learn in our textbook page number 30, discovery of silk is given. The silk production is here. The discovery of silk, page number 30 in your textbook, discovery of silk is given. The exact time of discovery of silk is perhaps unknown. According to an old Chinese legend, the Empress Xilongji was asked by the emperor to find the cause of the damaged leaves of mulberry trees growing in their garden. The Empress found white worms eating up mulberry leaves. That white worms are called silkworms. That white worms eating the mulberry leaves. She also noticed that they were spinning shiny cocoons around them. The white worms spinning shiny cocoons around them in the mulberry tree. Then accidentally a cocoon dropped in her tea, in her cup of tea, and a tangle of delicate threads separated from the cocoon. Accidentally under the tree, the emperor is sitting under the tree. A cocoon is dropped into her cup of tea. She noticed that the cocoon is changed into a delicate threads separated from the cocoon. So silk industry begin in China. Silk industry is begin in China and was kept a closely guarded secret for hundreds of years. So first of all, the silk industry is begin in China. Okay, then next in page number 29 about the silk industry is given. All of you read it. Then what our lesson is over. What are things we learned in this lesson? We learned about fiber to fabric, how to prepare fiber to fabric. Then we learn about different types of fibers. Then the life history of silk moth. Then in the life history of silk moth tells us about the life history of silk moth tells us about the first of all the female silk moth. The female silk moth lays egg on the leaves of mulberry tree. Then the eggs are hatched. The eggs are hatched into very small larvae within a week. Then the larvae of silk moth are called silkworms or caterpillar. Then the silkworms or the caterpillar feed on the mulberry leaves and grow bigger in size. Then when the silkworm is ready to enter the next stage of development, that stage of development is called pupa. In that stage, first the silkworm weaves a net to hold itself. Then the silkworm swings its head from side to side. And produce fibers during these movements. That fibers are made of protein. That protein helps the silk fibers hardens. That helps the silk fibers hardens. Then the most common silk moth is used for producing the silk fibers are mulberry silk moth. The most common silk moth is used for producing the silk fibers are mulberry silk moth. Next we learn about from cocoon to silk. From cocoon to silk, there are two steps is needed. In the first step, rearing of silkworms. In the first step, the female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs at a time. The female silk moths lays hundreds of eggs at a time. It can be collected into a paper or a cloth and sold to the silkworm farmers. The silkworm farmers keep the eggs under suitable and hygienic temperature and humidity. Then the eggs hatch into larvae, and that larvae are called silkworms or caterpillar. Then the caterpillar is placed. The farmers place the caterpillar into a bamboo tray. That bamboo tray contains freshly chopped mulberry leaves. Then the caterpillar eat the mulberry leaves and grow bigger in size. After 25 to 30 days, the caterpillar or the silkworms stop eating and producing the cocoons. Inside the cocoons, the silk moth is developed. That's all in the rearing silkworms. Then next step is the processing of silkworm. In the processing of silkworm, the farmers collect a group of cocoons and keep the cocoons under the sun, or give steam to the cocoons for separating the silk fibers. Then reeling the silk takes place in the processing silk section. What do you mean by reeling the silks? The process of taking out the threads from the cocoon. For making the silk fibers are called reeling the silks. So that's all we learned in this lesson. So all of you read your textbook carefully. If you have any doubt, ask me. Then write the notes properly and without making spelling mistakes. Okay? Thank you.